Imagine for a moment the most powerful man in the world. He commands the largest army on earth. His face is stamped on every coin. A word from him can raise a man up or end his life. Millions obey him. And every night in the quiet of his tent, on the edge of a cold and brutal frontier, this man, the Emperor of Rome, sits down and writes private notes to himself. Notes he never intended anyone to read. And what does the most powerful man alive keep reminding himself of, over and over in those pages? To stop caring so much what other people think. His name was Marcus Aurelius, and the notes he wrote became one of the most extraordinary documents ever produced by a human being, a book we now call the Meditations. Here was a man who had everything, who answered to no one, who could have done anything he wanted. And the thing he had to keep training himself to master was the same thing that quietly rules your life and mine. The endless, exhausting concern with the opinions of others. The need to be liked. The fear of judgment. The invisible cage of what will they think. If the emperor of the entire Roman world struggled with this, and had to work at it every single day, then you can stop believing there's something uniquely weak in you for struggling with it too. It's the human condition. But Marcus discovered something on that frontier, something the Stoics had been teaching for centuries, that can genuinely set you free from it. Today, I'm going to walk you through it, his hard-won philosophy of inner freedom, and how to actually stop letting other people's opinions run your life. This isn't about becoming cold or arrogant or not caring about anyone. It's about something deeper, reclaiming the one thing that was always supposed to be yours and yours alone, your own mind. If you're tired of living for other people's approval, type, "I choose inner freedom" in the comments. Let's begin. Let's start with the single most important idea in all of Stoic philosophy, because everything else grows from this one root. Marcus, following the Stoics before him, divided the entire world into two categories. There are things that are up to you and things that are not up to you. And nearly all human misery, he believed, comes from confusing the two. What is up to you? Your own thoughts, your own choices, your own actions, your own judgments about things, your character. How you respond to what happens, that's the list. It's short. But it is entirely, completely yours. No one can touch it without your permission. And what is not up to you? Almost everything else. The weather, the past, other people's actions, other people's choices, whether you get sick, whether you succeed. And this is the crucial one: what other people think of you. Their opinions of you are not in your control. They never were. They are formed inside another person's mind, shaped by their moods, their history, their fears, their misunderstandings, things that have nothing to do with you at all. You cannot reach into another person's head and make them approve of you. It is simply, permanently outside your power. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Do you see the trap now? Most people spend their entire lives desperately trying to control the one thing they can never control, other people's opinions, while completely neglecting the one thing they actually can, their own mind. They chase approval like it's a prize they can win, when it was never in their hands to begin with. And so they live in a state of permanent anxiety, permanently at the mercy of every raised eyebrow, every offhand comment, every imagined judgment. They've handed the steering wheel of their inner life to people who don't even know they're holding it. Marcus's first great teaching is simply this: take the wheel back. Stop pouring your energy into the ungovernable ocean of other people's opinions, and pour it instead into the one small kingdom you actually rule: your own thoughts, your own conduct, your own soul. Everything he wrote flows from this. When you truly grasp that other people's opinions were never yours to control, a strange thing happens. The desperate need to manage them starts slowly to loosen its grip. Now let's go deeper, because Marcus said something even more radical than "you can't control their opinions." He said their opinions can't actually harm you at all, not unless you let them. And this is where most people get stuck, so stay with me, because this idea, once it lands, changes everything. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your own estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Read that again slowly. The pain, Marcus says, is not in the thing itself. It's in your judgment about the thing. Someone criticizes you. The criticism is just sound, vibrations in the air, or marks on a screen. It has no power to wound you on its own. What wounds you is the story you tell yourself about it. They're right, I'm not good enough, everyone must see it, this is a disaster. That interpretation, that's where the pain lives. And that interpretation is happening inside your mind, which means it is entirely up to you. This is the Stoic insight that people find almost impossible to accept at first, because it sounds like it's blaming the victim. It isn't. Marcus is not saying the criticism was okay, or that cruel people aren't cruel. He's saying something far more empowering, that the final say over whether their words land as a wound or bounce off as noise, that final say belongs to you. Between what happens to you and how you feel about it, there is a space, and in that space is your freedom. A jeering crowd, a nasty remark, a look of contempt, these things reach the border of your mind, but they cannot cross it without your signature. You are the one who decides whether to sign. Think about what this means practically. Two people receive the exact same insult. One is devastated for a week. The other shrugs and forgets it by lunch. The insult was identical. The difference was entirely in the judgment each person made about it. Which proves Marcus's point perfectly. It was never the insult that had the power. It was always the mind receiving it. And your mind is the one thing in this entire universe that you were given full authority over. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Now let me show you why Marcus was so relentless about this, because he understood a cost that most people never calculate. When you live for other people's approval, you don't just suffer anxiety. You slowly lose yourself. Every time you shape your behavior around what will please the crowd, you shave off a little piece of who you actually are. You say what you think they want to hear instead of what's true. You pursue what looks impressive instead of what you actually value. You perform a version of yourself designed for an audience, and over the years, you can forget entirely who you were underneath the performance. This is the deepest cost of caring too much what they think. It doesn't just make you unhappy, it makes you disappear. You become a collection of other people's expectations wearing your face. And the tragedy is that the audience you're performing for isn't even paying attention. Marcus reminds himself of this bluntly, again and again, that people are far too absorbed in their own lives, their own worries, their own performances, to be studying yours as closely as you fear. The spotlight you feel burning on you is largely one you built yourself and aimed at your own face. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Sit with that line, because it exposes the whole absurdity. You love yourself more than you love other people. That's natural. That's how humans are built. And yet you value their opinion of you more than your own opinion of yourself. You'll trust a stranger's offhand judgment over your own deep knowledge of who you are. You'll let someone who's known you for 5 minutes override the verdict of someone who's known you for a lifetime yourself. When you say it plainly like that, you can see how backwards it is. Your own opinion of your life should carry more weight than the opinion of people who barely know you, who won't remember the interaction by tomorrow, and who are, in the end, just as lost and uncertain as you are. Let me make this even more concrete, because Marcus had a way of cutting these fears down to size that is almost brutal in its clarity. Think about whose approval you're actually chasing. Look honestly at the people whose opinions rule your life, the ones you contort yourself to impress, the ones whose judgment you dread. Are they wise? Are they at peace? Have they figured out how to live well? Usually, if you're honest, the answer is no. They're anxious too. They're insecure too. They're often chasing approval from someone else just as you're chasing it from them. It's approval seekers all the way down, a whole chain of frightened people, each performing for the next, none of them actually free. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. So why, Marcus asks, would you hand the verdict on your life to people who haven't even figured out their own? Why treat the judgment of the anxious and the lost as if it were the voice of God? When you actually examine the crowd whose approval you crave, you find it's not a jury of wise elders. It's just people. Scared, distracted, self-absorbed people, most of whom think about you far less than you imagine, and none of whom will stand beside you when you face the real tests of your life. Their applause won't comfort you on your deathbed. Their approval won't give your life meaning. You've been organizing your existence around the reactions of a crowd that was never qualified to judge it. Now here's where the philosophy turns from diagnosis to freedom, because Marcus doesn't just want you to see the trap. He wants to hand you the way out. And the way out is a specific inner move that the Stoics practiced constantly. It's this: locate your sense of worth inside yourself, in your own character and conduct, rather than outside yourself, in the reactions of others. The Stoics called it building an inner citadel, a fortress within, where your peace lives that no external opinion can breach. Nowhere can a man find a more peaceful retreat than in his own soul. Marcus writes that people are always looking for escapes, retreats in the countryside, by the sea, in the mountains. And he reminds himself that the only retreat that actually works is the one you can enter at any moment, because you carry it with you always, your own mind. When you've built that inner citadel, when your sense of who you are comes from within, from living according to your own values, from being the kind of person you respect, then other people's opinions lose their terrible power, because you're no longer getting your worth from them. You've stopped outsourcing the verdict on your life to the crowd and taken it back into your own hands, where it belonged all along. This is what inner freedom actually is. It's not caring about anything. It's caring about the right thing, your own integrity, more than you care about the applause. When you know in yourself that you're acting with honesty and courage and decency, then a critic's disapproval simply can't reach the core of you. Let them think what they think. You know what you did and why you did it. That knowledge, held firmly inside your own citadel, is worth more than 1,000 voices of praise from people who don't understand you. And there's a beautiful paradox buried in here, one Marcus understood well. The person who stops desperately needing approval often becomes more respected, not less. Because there is nothing more magnetic, more quietly powerful than a person who is genuinely free of the need to impress you. The approval seeker repels people with their neediness. The self-possessed person draws them in. But, and this is important, you can't do it as a strategy to get the approval anyway. That's just approval seeking in disguise. The freedom is only real when you've genuinely stopped needing the outcome. When you truly no longer require their good opinion, you're finally free whether you get it or not. And that freedom is the whole prize. Let me be very clear about what this philosophy is not, because it's easy to twist into something ugly. This is not a license to become arrogant, or cruel, or indifferent to how you affect people. Marcus Aurelius was, by every account, one of the most dutiful and compassionate rulers in history. He cared deeply about doing right by others. He simply stopped needing them to applaud him for it. There's a world of difference between those two things. Not caring what people think of you is freedom. Not caring about people is a different thing entirely, and it's a kind of death. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. The Stoic ideal is to be deeply engaged with the world, to do your duty, to treat others with justice and kindness, and to do all of it because it's right, not because you're fishing for a reaction. You still listen to feedback. You still take honest criticism seriously when it's useful, and correct yourself when you're wrong. That's part of good character. What you release is the emotional dependence. The difference is this: you can hear a criticism, weigh whether it's true, adjust if it is, and discard it if it isn't, all without your inner peace rising and falling on it. You become a good person who happens to be free, rather than a frightened person performing goodness for an audience. So how do you actually build this? Marcus didn't just describe inner freedom. He practiced it daily with concrete methods. Let me give you what his philosophy points toward in practical terms you can start with today. First, before you act, ask whether it's the right thing, not whether it will be approved. This is the fundamental shift. Every time you're about to make a choice, notice which question you're actually asking. Are you asking what's true and good here? Or are you asking what will make them like me? Just noticing which question drives you is half the battle. Start deliberately replacing the second question with the first. Let your actions be governed by your values, not by the anticipated reactions of the crowd. Second, when criticism comes, insert the Stoic pause. Remember that the words themselves are neutral. The wound only forms when you add your judgment. So create a space. Before you react, ask two questions. Is this true? And does this person's opinion actually matter for how I should live? If the criticism is true and useful, thank the fates. You've been handed a chance to improve, and improvement is always in your power. If it's false, or if it comes from someone whose judgment means nothing, let it pass through you like wind through an open window. You don't have to catch every stone that's thrown at you. Third, shrink the imagined audience. Much of your fear is about a crowd that isn't watching. Remind yourself, as Marcus constantly did, that people are absorbed in their own lives and think of you far less than you fear. That embarrassing thing you did, they've forgotten it. That judgment you're dreading, it flickered through their mind for a second and vanished. The vast, staring audience you perform for exists mostly in your own imagination. Turn down its volume by remembering how small it actually is. Fourth, build your inner citadel by living with integrity. This is the deep work, and it's the only permanent solution. The reason you fear judgment so much is often that some part of you isn't sure of your own worth, so you need others to confirm it. Fix that at the source. When you consistently act according to your values, when you're honest, when you do your duty, when you treat people well, when you're the kind of person you yourself respect, you build an unshakable inner knowledge of your own decency. And a person who has that knowledge no longer desperately needs it from outside. Your own good conscience becomes the citadel that no opinion can storm. And fifth, remember death not morbidly but as a clarifier. Marcus returned to this constantly. You are going to die. So is everyone whose opinion you're afraid of. In 100 years, you and your critics and the entire audience you're performing for will all be gone, forgotten, dust. When you hold your life against that vast backdrop, the question, but what will they think, begins to look as small as it actually is. You have one brief, precious life. Spending it as a slave to the fleeting opinions of people who will themselves soon be forgotten, that is the real tragedy. The awareness of death doesn't make life meaningless. It makes the fear of judgment meaningless, which frees you to actually live. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Because in the end, this is what Marcus Aurelius discovered on that cold frontier, with all the power in the world and none of the freedom it promised. The freedom he was looking for could never come from commanding others, or from winning their approval, or from any external thing at all. It could only come from within, from the mastery of his own mind, the one small kingdom that was truly his. He had authority over an empire, but the only authority that brought him peace was authority over himself. And that same authority is available to you. You don't need an empire. You don't need anyone's permission. The kingdom of your own mind was handed to you at birth, and it has been waiting all this time for you to stop giving it away. Every opinion you've feared, every judgment you've contorted yourself to avoid, every ounce of energy you've spent trying to control what was never yours to control, all of it can come home the moment you decide that the verdict on your life belongs to you and to no one else. So I'll leave you with the only question that matters. Are you ready to take back the one kingdom that was always yours and stop handing the keys to people who were never qualified to hold them? If your answer is yes, drop "The verdict is mine" in the comments right now. Speak it into existence. Make that promise to yourself.